Folks who have issues with anything. You know, you have anxiety issues, you have mobility issues, sight, hearing, anybody who requires accessibility to be changed so that they can utilize the same space that someone without any issues can use without any help. Things like, I have mobility issues. I'm in a power chair. My power chair takes up a lot of room, and it's heavy. I can't go up and down stairs. So if there's an event where the only way to get to it is by stairs, I can't go. This leads to a lot of problems. You know, you have folks that would otherwise be able to contribute to an event not being able to be there. Events where maybe someone is hard of hearing. Without the mic, most people who are hard of hearing would not be able to understand what I'm saying. But you have a microphone, the volume level goes up, and if they have a device that allows them to amplify their own hearing, they can make out what I'm saying. Sometimes they use interpreters to use sign language. You have folks who are blind. If there are tripping hazards on the floor, a sighted person, it's not a problem for them. They just step over it. They don't even notice it. But someone who can't see it, they may trip, they may fall, they may injure themselves, and that's not okay. So accessibility addresses equaling out the access to public spaces. Now, like I said, I'm in a power chair. I'm in a heavy power chair, which means I need sturdy elevators. If elevators break down, I can't go to a venue. Now, I personally, because of my issues and because I have a child on the autistic spectrum and a niece on the autistic spectrum, I have other family members who have various other issues in their lives that compromise their ability to enjoy public events. So I've spent a lot of time throughout my life studying how to make accessibility easier for people to understand. When My Little Pony conventions first started, it was small gatherings, and a lot of times they weren't accessible. Which is, you know, okay, fine, you're having a very small gathering at somebody's house. It's understandable that it's not going to be accessible. But when they started getting into venue spaces, hotels, things like that, they needed to become accessible in order to follow ADA regulations. Well, some of them did it well, and some of them did it haphazardly, and some of them just didn't bother. But then time goes on. The conventions that just didn't bother just didn't last. Because if you're making it harder for somebody to enjoy the convention, other people are affected by it too. You have tripping hazards on the floor, and folks who have sighting issues, well, they can't enjoy the venue. Well, their friends aren't going to let them be outside of that venue by themselves. So they didn't go. Small children have issues with stuff on the floor too. Their families didn't come back. Time goes on and you have more conventions becoming more accessible. For the last 3 years, I have worked for Everfree Northwest in Seattle. I've really enjoyed working there. My first year was before I had my car accident. I was incredibly mobile. And I recognized then that there were issues that needed to be addressed. The second year of Everfree Northwest, I had a car accident just a few days before. I didn't have insurance, so I hadn't gone to see my doctor yet. I had an appointment for the Monday afterwards, but I had a con to work. It's where I earned my name as Line Monkey, because working in security, they didn't really want me moving around too much. So they stationed me in this one little area that had two lines, the main hall line and the autograph line, running right through it. And they said, Autumn, just make sure they don't go insane. I can do that. And I did. And I'm bouncing around and limping around and big smiles and high energy and happy faces. And one of the attendees looks at me and goes, "What are you, some kind of line monkey?" Yes. So I became the line monkey. And I started paying even closer attention to accessibility and regulations. Did you guys know that there are federal regulations regarding how close someone can stand to an exit door? How many people are allowed in an event space? How much space has to be there between a line of people and the other wall? There are regulations for everything. And I started noticing nobody's following these regulations. This is a real problem. You know, fire exits were being blocked. People were pulling a line out into the street. That was fun to fix. Just all of this stuff that I noticed. I started noticing more and more at more and more conventions. Well, the Monday after Everfree, 2 years ago, I went to my doctor, and at first I just thought, well, whiplash. It wasn't whiplash. Well, it was whiplash, but it wasn't only whiplash. I had multiple microfractures in my spine. The ligaments and tendons holding my spine to my pelvis weren't. And this meant that should I walk further than, a few steps at a time, I have a very distinct possibility of paralyzing myself. And this is not something that I want to have happen. So I was informed, you're going to be wheelchair bound. Okay, wheelchair bound. And then I started noticing even more the issues affecting accessibility. So I looked at all of the regulations, all of the things that are required for fire regulations, ADA regulations, crowd management, all of this. And I started putting things together. This is where I came up with my 3 rules of lines. The first rule, walls are your friend. Stand close to the wall, get to know the wall, love the wall. Don't worry, they'll sanitize it after we leave. No, really, they do. I've seen the cleaning supplies, it's awesome. Rule number 2 is single file. If you're standing next to somebody, you're taking up space in a hallway that could provide a tripping hazard. You're taking up space in the hallway where you're causing congestion that can lead to a really, really horrible situation if a fire broke out. Staying single file, you're still gonna get into the event, I promise. You're not gonna get in any faster standing next to your friend rather than behind them. Everybody goes in at the same pace. So standing single file helps protect everybody, not just the people who require that 6.5-foot clearance down the hallway. It's everybody is much more safe if you remain single file in a line. The third rule, my personal favorite rule, doorways are lava. Stay out of the lava. Because if you're standing in a doorway, it doesn't matter where that doorway leads to. That doorway is somebody's fire exit. If a fire were to break out, and this is why this is a secret panel, because that's happening. If a fire were to break out and you're blocking a doorway, you're going to get hit. You're going to be injured, and there's an easy way to avoid that. Don't stand in the door. Easy, simple. Those 3 rules I came up with. It has done an amazing job of helping people be more comfortable in the hallways. You're not getting crowded. There's nobody pushing up against you. That's some pretty good music. I'm going to be going to the concert after this, aren't y'all? What? No, they're setting up for the concert. This is their sound test. This was also the time I was given to do my thing because it wasn't on the schedule. The concert is at 8. It's at 8 o'clock, yeah. So, yeah, in the main hall. It's going to be fantastic. I highly recommend everybody go to it. So, all of these things that I have discovered, that I have come across, are being fixed. They are, accessibility is being integrated. This year's BronyCon, there were 2 absolutely fabulous accessibility things that were done. The first was the colored communication badges. Colored communication badges is a adaptation of autistic communication. 3 colors, red, yellow, green. Green card, come talk to me. I want to make new friends. I'm open to new conversations. Wow, they're really thumping. Hold on. I think this one's going to be a little louder. There we go. So, green card meant, come talk to me. I want to be talked to. I'm open to communication. Yellow cards meant, if I know you, come and talk to me. If I don't know you, unless I come up to you, don't talk to me. And red communication badges meant, unless you are on my safe list, don't talk to me. This makes it a lot easier for people to make friends and meet new people. It also made it a lot easier for folks on the autistic spectrum to recognize when their conversations would be welcome. It helped them have more fun because they recognize when somebody is giving them the brush off. They don't like it any more than anybody else does. It's hurtful. But with a very visual communication key, they were able to integrate and have accessibility the same as anybody else. Everybody else would look at somebody and read their body language. That's not something that a lot of autistic people can do. So having this very visual cue was very helpful. The second thing that they did was not something that they advertised. They heavily advertised the communication badges because this was for everybody. Everybody should have these communication badges. It was a great thing. I heard nothing but positive things about the communication badges at BronyCon. The second thing they did was they had a special access badge. It was a badge that went behind your attendee badge. And the only thing that showed at the very bottom of it was a little yellow strip that said special access. Well, your average attendee is going to have absolutely no idea what that means. Do you go backstage? Are you someone special? There was no advertisement of what these special access badges were for. But as you left registration, you passed a desk that had the color communication badges. And they also had these special access badges. And they would talk to you about why you're picking up the color communication badges. They wanted feedback on who was taking them and why they were using them and how they were using them. And, oh, so you're ADA? Well, you know, we have these badges right here that will allow you to avoid the lines. Go in and find your seat before anyone else. This was very helpful for people who were mobility challenged. Have you ever attempted to climb over people who are sitting in the rows? It's kind of difficult for people who can walk normally. If you can't walk naturally, it's impossible. If you can't see with 20/20 vision, it's hard to find your way to a seat when there's people everywhere. If you have a social anxiety disorder, standing in those lines is akin to torture. Get you in, find a seat. Like I said, it wasn't heavily advertised because we didn't want it to be. But it did make it a lot easier. Because people who would walk past those colored communication badges and notice the special access badge would ask about it. Well, what are those for? Well, these are for folks who have special needs for access. Oh, well, that's not me, I'm fine. And they would walk on. But the folks who did need special access, who did need accessibility, would take those badges. And like I said, the only thing that showed was a little orange banner down at the bottom of their badge that said special access. And the only people who knew what those special access badges were for were security and line control. Nobody else needed to know what they were. Those were two things that BronyCon did to improve accessibility this year, and they did a fantastic job of doing it. I saw so many people enjoying the convention that wouldn't have been able to the year before. They were able to interact with people at their own comfort level. And that's not something that My Little Pony conventions had done before. It was a great thing. I loved seeing it. This is not where the Tesla thingy is. This is the secret panel. Opposite side, Chinaberry. You're welcome. Oh well. Yeah, I know, my panel wasn't advertised. It's okay, I get it. So these are ways that things at conventions, at My Little Pony conventions, have improved over the years. There has been a lot of improvement in accessibility. Everfree Northwest this year had a sign language interpreter, sort of. I say sort of because it was me. I do know a little bit of sign language, and there were a few folks who were a little hard of hearing and didn't understand what was being said, directions that were being given. Okay, I can help you fix that. We had some folks who couldn't see where they were supposed to be. They could see bright contrasting colors though, which is why the tape that I laid down on the floor for Everfree Northwest, very high visibility tape. Because if you can see the contrast between the colors, you can tell where you're supposed to be. It helps streamline everything, and I am quite pleased that it worked as well as it did. You know, these are all ways that conventions have improved accessibility, but I know we can go further. I know it can get better. And one of the things that I am asking every attendee, if you have a My Little Pony forum login, go to the BabsCon forum. There is a topic. I submitted a panel to BabsCon, ADA and PonyCons. If you have a suggestion, let me know. I want to know because I work at a lot of conventions and quite frankly, I am not just blowing smoke. I am the deputy of line control for BronyCon 2015. So suggestions for accessibility that get to me will be considered. I can't say that they will absolutely be implemented because some things just can't be, given venue, laws, whatever else. But discussions will be had. One of the suggestions on the topic was training the staff on how to handle service and therapy animals. It's a great idea. And this is something that's easily implemented. We have staff meetings before every shift. We have a huge security meeting ahead of the conventions. This is information that can be given out then. It was a great idea, and I plan on implementing it this coming year. So if you have any ideas, please let me know. I want to know. I want to improve the ability for everybody to enjoy My Little Pony conventions as much as I have. So does anybody have anything? Oh, by the way, the head of security for BronyCon has already told me that I need to let him know any suggestion that comes out of this panel. So anybody? Bueller? Bueller?
I think he's sick.
He's not sick, he's faking. Oh, don't do that. You'll give me flashbacks to that movie. It was a really bad movie. It was funny, I liked the music, but it was a really poorly done movie. Yep. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. So does anybody have suggestions? Anything you think might improve the ability for everybody to enjoy a My Little Pony convention? And don't say a ball pit, that's not happening. Not unless you've got $17,000.
Are you talking about just something like safety-wise, or?
Safety-wise, training-wise, anything. I want to know.
Are pony rides possible?
Unfortunately, pony rides are not possible at most conventions. There's issues with waste. That's the politically correct way of saying horses poop. And it's hard to get that out of carpet. I have 5 horses. 2 of them are pregnant. I also have 4 donkeys, and Mama's gonna drop her foal any day. I should really be at home. Instead, I'm here yakking with you guys about horses. So no pony rides unless something massive changes, although I'll let Rabbi know that somebody wants pony rides. It didn't happen this year either, did it? No. So it probably won't happen, but I'll let him know. In fact, hold on.
Most of BronyCon is on concrete, hard floors.
And no. No, most of the convention center is now carpeted. Yeah, it's kind of funny. Let's see, where are you? No, not you. So I've actually got access to the internet. Let me see. Let me bring up our internal communications. Signing in. Don't be a butt. Load the roster. Thank you. Do. Where is Rabbi? Let me do it this way. Where is my security chat? There we go. And I go. Suggestion made at panel pony rides, really? Rides at the con. The suggestion has been made. I told you I'd tell him. So, pony rides, probably not going to happen, but the suggestion has been made. Does anybody else have any other suggestions?
Like there could be like those electric wheelchairs that can have sensors, like if you're not looking when you're going, and you like run into somebody.
Well, thing is that we have to work with the equipment that they have. And most people don't have backup cameras. I say most because I'm sure somebody has modded their chair to be able to do that. I mean, I modded my chair so that I can charge my phone off of my batteries. It's pretty sweet. Now, my cell phone used to run out of batteries about 3 hours into my work shift. I'm currently sitting at 94%. And I've been working since 30 this morning. That would be before the sun showed itself. Which means I've been working way too long today. Huh. That's okay though, I am on call for 24 hours during the entirety of the convention because medic. Yay. But the idea of having some kind of sensor on wheelchairs, that's actually a good idea and might be something that, while I can't suggest it for a convention-wide thing, I can let some of my other groups know that that's something that a small fry came up with. Be like, hey, so you know that issue we have with the fact that we can't turn around in our chairs? I know we've been making do with mirrors. No, seriously, we make do with bicycle mirrors, rear view mirrors. Yeah, that's what we usually use. But what about a backup camera? They're easy to rip out of vehicles. Maybe just find somebody's vehicle that they don't take out very often. I am not condoning car theft. Just parts. Kidding. So yeah, that is a good idea that I can hand over to other groups. Any other ideas for accessibility? Oh, special like that is. Yeah, that would work for getting through very crowded areas. Maybe have a shortcut specifically for ADA. Well, we have something like that specifically for staff. Shortcuts that let us get from point A to point B before you do. This is why I always appear to be everywhere. I'm kidding. It's because I'm omnipresent. I am everywhere. That's right, I'm a deity. You can fall down and worship me at any time. I accept donations to PayPal. Oh, did he really? Oh, wow. No. No, small ears, I'm not saying it. The short answer is, I'm sorry, no. No ponies. It would be an adorable idea, but no ponies. But no, we do actually have special access routes for security, emergency personnel. I'm pretty sure that at some of the larger conventions, we can create an ADA route. That is a very good idea. In fact, let me write that down. Really? Alpha? What the heck? Do. Okay, ADA specific pathways. That is a good idea. Thank you. Yes.
I have a question.
I have an answer. Maybe they match. Yes, I am. At BabsCon, however, I am not security. I'm working convention operations. You'll see me dragging around a little red wagon. Well, okay, it's a little black wagon at this point. I've got cloth covering it. Full of food for other staffers who can't leave their posts. Just call me Derpy's Deliveries. No, that's actually what I'm going to have written on my cart. Ooh. Another good idea, muffins. Yeah, actually, I think we're going to have muffins. So that'll be fun. Oh, excuse me. Anybody else have any other ideas? Around where it is.
So they can actually, it's a bright blue LED, so they can it's really in that part.
I believe it. We don't have a whole lot of call for injury avoidance like that, with the exception of my power chair, which, by the way, is getting blue LEDs along the bottom edges of it. You'll always see me coming. That sounded so wrong. What? It's true. Actually, you will either see me or hear me. I'm very loud. It's hard to mistake my voice. Using a blue LED, we could probably use that to mark out pathways, though. I don't know how financially feasible that would be. But it would definitely be a good indicator. Thing is that we can't put those on carpet. There's about the only thing that we are allowed to put on carpets at conventions is something called gaffer's tape. Or spike tape, which is the same thing, just different size and colors. Spike tape is thin, very fluorescent, highly visible. Gaffer's tape is generally not that exciting to look at, but it's a lot wider. It's usually used to hold down wires and cables and all of the, stuff that I'm back here tripping over and rolling over because there's no gaffer's tape over it. Yeah, I kind of figured you didn't. Yeah. But no, none of the wires back here have gaffer's tape over them. Things that help prevent tripping hazards. Little things. Yes? backup gaffer's tape would be absolutely fantastic. But yeah, I think that spike tape, probably a better idea for accessibility. If nothing else, this is this brightly colored tape, you can't miss it. If you can see this tape, you can see what's under it. But that's, yes. Let's see, how would I put that? High really? High visibility. Seriously, stop double tapping. Tape for pathways. Stop double tapping. Good idea. Anybody else? Anybody else at all? Nothing, tra-la-la. That's right, labyrinth. Nothing, tra-la-la. So really, absolutely nothing else? We've only been here for like 35 minutes. No? Yes. Yeah, that was an issue at a lot of conventions. Not at Everfree this year. I made sure they printed out signs. Exit only. Large print, large black print, white background. Let's see. Oh. Clearly marked entrance and exits. Ta-da. Suggestions sent. Anything else? No? If you guys think of anything else, please go onto the MLP forums, go to the BabsCon forum partners site, find I submitted a panel to BabsCon, ADA and PonyCons. Leave your suggestion. I love to have conversations with people there. I've already had a very good discussion on how to approach a service dog. Don't. And the reason why it's not a good idea to do that. You guys don't know? Would you guys like to know the difference between therapy dogs and service dogs? Okay, so a therapy dog, or any therapy animal, is they're trained to be more docile, and they allow intrusions into their personal space from people they don't know. That's what they're trained to do. Their training allows them to be incredibly social and very friendly and outgoing. They're the ones that you see in hospitals, going around and saying hi to everybody. They're the ones that you see in a courthouse, comforting an abuse victim before they have to testify, or sitting next to them on the stand while they're testifying. They are the animals that you see when somebody maybe has been diagnosed with depression and they don't have a support system. They have a therapy animal. These therapy animals are trained to be kind and gentle and loving and careful. But they're not trained for any specific task. So when you see a therapy dog, a therapy vest, a dog who's wearing a working vest, that it just says I'm a therapy dog. Occasionally, you will also see a patch on this vest that says, I'm friendly. Ask to pet me. This is a sign, hey, come on up. Say hi. I'm a good puppy and I want to say hello to you. And their owners are accepting of doing that. That is what their dog is trained to do, is to say hello and provide support, and that's what they're trained to do. A service dog, on the other hand, is not. They are not trained to be docile to any stranger. They are not trained to allow intrusions into their personal area from people they don't know. What they are trained to do is protect and support the person that is their handler. Oh, wow. Sorry, I'm getting a lot of notifications from other people on the security chat. So you may have a service dog that is a mobility service dog. These dogs are trained to maybe assist someone in a wheelchair when they're moving from their wheelchair to another position. Maybe they are used to steady someone on their feet. If you distract these dogs or these animals, because it can be any animal, from doing their job for their mobility service handler, their handler could fall. Their handler could get seriously injured because their service dog, who is working and trained to protect them and help them achieve mobility, has just been distracted. I love that song. You have other service dogs that are trained for other tasks. Seeing eye dogs help their handlers navigate a world that they cannot see. If you distract a seeing eye dog from doing their job by reaching into their personal space, they may accidentally run their handler into a wall. They may not notice a tripping hazard on the floor, and their handler may stumble and fall. You have hearing dogs that provide their handlers with the ability to navigate a world that is silent to them. Reach down for one of those dogs, get into their bubble, distract them. Their handler may walk out into traffic without hearing the car that is coming around the corner at them. They may not be able to hear a police siren with a cop doing 75 in a 30-mile-an-hour zone. You have other service dogs that are trained for other things. There are service dogs that are trained to alert their handler to an impending diabetic attack. There are dogs that are trained to alert their narcoleptic handlers to a narcolepsy attack about to happen. This allows their handler to get to an area that is safe. This allows their handler to alert medical. Hey, there's about to be a problem. My dog is alerting. I may need help. Narcolepsy is falling asleep without being tired, without being laying down. You're walking, bam, you're asleep on the floor. It's not something you can control, and it can cause a lot of problems. There are narcoleptics that have fallen and gotten severe concussions. If their dog alerts them before it happens, they can lay down and get into a safe position and let it happen without being in danger. There are service dogs that are trained to alert to a seizure, to impending seizures. This lets the person who has epilepsy know you're about to have a seizure. You need to be safe. It's about to happen. Come on. Get to a safe position. It allows these people to have minimal injuries from their problems. And if you distract their dogs or their horses, I've seen service horses. They're fantastic. They're so well trained. I've seen service cats. I have seen service rats. I had a coworker who carried around a rat on her shoulder because her rat would alert her if she was about to have a seizure. Would start pawing at her ear and nibbling at her neck and pulling and basically going nuts. And she would know that that's the signal. I'm about to have a seizure. Everybody stand back. Don't do this. I'm going to have a seizure. It's going to happen. But you can keep it from being worse than it's going to be. Without her rat, she used to have seizures that would come on unexpectedly. No warning. 1 minute she's walking along, riding her bike, driving her car. And the next minute she's in the hospital. Because she had a service rat who alerted her to impending seizures, she was able to function. She was able to trust that she could go out. She could go to a club. She could go out to eat for dinner. She could drive her car again. When you distract a service animal, you put their handler in danger. And like I said on the forum post, the best way to handle a service animal is to treat it like an extension of the person themselves. If you wouldn't ask to stroke someone's bare leg, don't ask to pet their animal. It's not a separate thing from them. It's like their leg or their arm. Yes, dear? Pretty much the same thing any other service animal can help with. Horses are highly intelligent. You can train them to do just about anything. Yes, dear? So one of the things that has been shown is that there is a chemical difference, neurons that fire differently. Other physical signs that, well, we can't detect on our own, but other animals can. They can sense the change in your pheromones. They can sense the change in maybe your sweat. Maybe they see your heart rate change, something that you wouldn't really notice. Little bitty signs that you wouldn't really notice, but they do. They can tell. And they'll alert that going, hey, this is different, this is different, this is different, this is not good, this is different, and this is bad. And they'll tell you. A lot of service animals that are alert animals like that, you can't train that. You can't initially train that. They either can or they can't. If they can, you can reward that behavior and train them to repeat the behavior. And they'll do it on the same cue. Your brain, your neurons started firing a little funny and they started pawing at you. And then you had a seizure. And you come to and you go, good boy, good girl, here's a treat, thank you. And then the next time your neurons start firing a little funny again, and they paw at you again, good, and you have your seizure. And then you, good boy, good girl, thank you. And you give them treats. And you train them that way to reinforce the behavior that they were already doing. It's hard to find animals that will alert to that. Because, like I said, you cannot train that as an initial thing. They will either do it or they won't. But if you find an animal that will do it, it is an incredible blessing. Because without that alert, you're in a lot of danger. And you can be injured severely. Which is why, like I said, don't distract a working animal. It's very dangerous for the handler. And like I said, they are not like therapy animals who are trained to allow strangers to intrude in their personal bubbles. In other words, they might snap at you if you are distracting them while they're working. They may be very friendly, very nice animals, but if they're working and you distract them, don't come whining to me if they nip at you. Anything else? Yes? That actually is a good idea. Maybe add a little blurb at the end of the convention rules. You know, underneath the harassment policies and the acceptable cosplay guidelines. Maybe add, what would we call that? Etiquette to handbook. So add service animal etiquette to the convention handbook. Yes. Oh, I'm off shift. I've been off since 5. All right, so 5 minutes. Anything else? Like I said, let me know on the forum website. I will be taking suggestions ad infinitum. Forever. Fancy words. Thank you, guys. Good night.